And welcome to the Under the Bus podcast. I'm your host, Merge, and I'm here with Nelson. What's up, Nelson?
What's up? I missed a big podcast apparently, but I'm back now, and hopefully I'll be featured more on them when they explode.
Yes, Nelson's finally back again. I guess I feel like we're saying that every time he's on, but next we have Clayton. What's up, Clayton?
Hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right.
Cool. And also we have a special guest, Alex Regla from SilverScreen&Roll. Alex, how you doing, man?
Hey guys, I'm doing pretty good.
How have you been watching these finals and stuff like that? Do you think it's ruining the NBA, like a lot of people want to say?
I mean, I just watched like Kevin Durant destroy Cleveland, by himself. So that was pretty fun. No, I mean, we kind of expected this, I guess. It's nothing really new. There's no new wrinkles to this. It's just I'm just excited that it's almost over. I want this summer to be here already.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at too. Even though I'm a guy who likes watching the Warriors, but anyway, let's move on to what we came here to talk about. Let's start with some more draft guys. Lakers have been bringing in a lot of guys. I know some big names coming up are I know Anthony Melton's working out on the 15th, which is in like a week or so. That's a big guy, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. He's a big guy that a lot of people think will go to the Lakers. And there's a couple other guys I hope they bring in, like this guy we will start off with. Alex, since you're the Lakers Twitter Okobo expert, and you just released a piece about it, which was great. So how are you? What do you see in Okobo, and why do you think he'd be a good fit for the Lakers?
Yeah, so like maybe a month or two ago, I released something about like the playoffs and things the Lakers can learn from the playoffs, and I listed things that playoff teams have that the Lakers are kind of missing right now. So like one of the things was multiple creators on the roster and shooting, and I think Okobo he can do both of those things. I think he can really fit in next to this team and really kind of fill those needs they need. Lonzo kind of he had struggle. But the primary guard stuff, like the pick and roll, that type of stuff. I think having a lead guard who can do that stuff, kind of put him off ball, I think that'll really help him out specifically, and just adding another dimension to this team. They need another playmaker. I mean, they lost so many games down the stretch where the offense was stagnant, then ball stopped. They need someone else to just kind of move the ball and hit a shot, and I think he can do something like that.
Yeah, watching the Warriors, maybe not today because it was a lot of Kevin Durant today, but they have more than just one guy who is their offense. Obviously, they have four of the best players in the NBA on their team, but they have multiple guys who can handle it. Even look at a guy like Iguodala, who is really important to them in terms of playmaking and handling the ball while they have all their actions going. Nelson, I know you are a guy that also liked Okobo. We all really like Okobo, but Nelson was another guy that you brought him up during our mock draft episode.
Yeah.
So what pops from him when you watch him play?
Honestly, when we traded away D'Angelo Russell, we lost a bit of that little pop, and it came back with Lonzo this year. But I feel like Okobo has a lot of swagger, a lot of fancy touch to his passes, and I think that immediately is like the first thing that stands out to me, like just watching him play. It's the confidence and this unwavering feeling of it's very. I keep bringing it back to D'Angelo, but it's very like D'Angelo Russell in Ohio State-esque, where he just like has a lot of confidence, and he understands that he's really capable with the ball in his hand, so he threads passes and he's unafraid to make these risky plays, and he did that in the NBA. D'Angelo did, and it caused a lot of turnovers, and it caused some backlash from some people. But I feel that like that kind of passing, it's really eye catching. But then we dig more into it. He's also capable of just making simple reads and getting people involved. And I feel that like kind of like what like Alex said, that I feel like he really is someone who can really handle the ball and create some offense and make the right reads and just take some pressure off of Lonzo, because Lonzo was really, I felt like he was really weighed down by the fact that he constantly had to like create and run pick and rolls like a lot more this season than he did usually. He had like Aaron Holiday at UCLA, a guy that's been talked about possibly in the first round, not by me because yeah. But I really feel that like the good qualities that he has as far as like having the ball in his hands and his ability to create some offense. I feel that like although he's not like the ideal multi-position guy, I feel that he still provides a good, solid on-ball backup point guard while also having the skill set to possibly even become more than that because he's so raw. Like he's not really polished at all. He's not going to be like this experienced veteran presence when he comes in. He's definitely going to be someone that needs to be developed a bit. But I feel that like, if he is, he provides a really good backup option and possibly even a starting option depending on how well he exactly develops because he has a shot and the ability to create offense for himself and for others.
Yeah, I really like him in that potential 6-man guard role just because he just seems like he'd be just a spark plug instantly when he comes in the game, someone that would like come in instantly and just knock down a pull-up three and just get the crowd into it and the teammates into it and stuff like that. Clayton, you're a guy who is a little more timid on him. I mean, it's not much, but what do you see from him that makes you hesitate a little on him?
I just my heightism.
Yeah,
really. I guess though, I'm going back and looking at some of the tape. It's not as much as a concern as I might have thought in the just a day or two ago though, because I wanted with Alex coming on, I wanted to go back over his article again.
Yeah.
And looking at some of the GIFs that he used, he's got that obviously that lefty shot like D'Angelo. But it's not like D'Angelo also at the same time because he gets up more. Yeah. D'Angelo I always thought of him as just kind of like a set shooter of just like he didn't get up very much when he shot. It was just a lot of times it just felt like arms when he was shooting.
Yeah.
Well, with Okobo, he gets up, 4, 5, 6 inches or something like that. He's getting off the ground more than D'Lo was, and he's got almost the same reach as D'Lo. D'Angelo had what, a 6'9" wingspan, maybe 6'10", and with Okobo, I believe it's 6'8". So he is a +5, so that's a positive. He's also a better athlete, in my opinion, than D'Angelo. So it like I do have my concerns just because of the height. He's not a great athlete still. The league he played in was not quite NCAA, I don't believe, level. Like if we're comparing like Luka Doncic plays in the second best league in the world, and then like NCAA is probably behind that, and then Okobo's in the league just below that.
Yeah.
So I guess just like the comparison of competition, he did play against some guys that were in the NCAA, like Aaron Kraft, and some other guys. So it's not that I dislike him. I would actually be fine with him at 25. Yeah. I just think that he's a little lower on my list than everyone else.
Yeah. Alex says, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he definitely is a flash over substance kind of player when like just going through the tape a bit. But I mean, like, I see the concerns that Clayton has, especially with the size, but I feel that like, especially looking at him as more of a bench guard, I feel like those concerns don't really matter that much. But I kind of have a ceiling as like possibly even starting in some certain situations and matchups. So
like a spot starter type of thing.
Yeah, spot starter. And I feel that like even in that case, it's not really as pronounced as a concern, and like his +5 length is also a bit of a help.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure. Alex, do you share any of the same concerns that Clayton does?
No, yeah, I get that. And, and as I was writing the thing, I kept remembering in the back of my head the whole multi-positional defender thing. And I'm like, yeah, this guy, I mean, if he gets switched on to a 3 or a 4, I mean, I don't see him, holding his own. But he has shown some quick feet in his recent workouts, like in that Las Vegas workout. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but some guys were kind of down on him after those clips came out. But I actually thought he showed some pretty quick feet and quick hands. Like Nelson was saying, I mean, if he's coming off the bench, like how how many bench guys could really exploit that? You know, how many teams are really headhunting, you know, bench units?
Yeah.
And it's just, I like the tools. I like the fit. I think that's at 25. It's just, I think we're all kind of looking for that lottery type talent. I'm not sure it's there. I think it in certain cases, like some guys we love, like Herder and Melton, I think it is there. But I think if we're being realistic, I don't think they're going to be there at 25. And I'm just looking for someone who could fit this team and give them some tools they need. I mean, they not only Lonzo handling the pick and roll, but just being able to score out of the pick and roll. I mean, we saw how many teams just started going under those screens on him. And with Okobo, it's just a different look. You know, just he can run some primary stuff, run off on Lonzo off ball, and just, you know, just give the team a different look they didn't have last season.
Yeah. Nelson, I like how you brought up the flash over substance type thing. I think that's why I like him more as that 6-man role, because I from a bench unit, I just want energy and something to keep the starters like into the game and like ready to go. And if they're seeing Okobo pull up from 30 on like some like crazy pull up, I mean, I think that's really going to keep these guys in the game. I mean, even aside from stuff like that, he is a good basketball player. And
how's this for a comp though? A less athletic Shannon Brown.
No, I don't know, because Shannon didn't really have handles, and I think Okobo has handles, especially in the pick and roll.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Okobo has some more 3-level scoring upside. I think he could pull up anywhere out of screens. He could, his mid-range game is really good. I think there's a lot of potential there scoring wise. I think the defense might hold him back, and there's a lot of flash up, over substance there. But like I think it was Nelson who was saying, there's so much confidence in his game. Like it's like if you see like some of these passes he just attempts, they're like ridiculous. Like, and if they don't get to their target, you can see a coach pulling him right away in the NBA. But
yeah, to D'Angelo.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the comp right there that I keep saying. It's just because there's this kind of like, he's not like super animated when he does anything really spectacular. He's really kind of calm, but he's pulling up, he's shooting over double teams. He's threading the needle. Like some of the skip passes, I think like it was the first image I used where he just kind of like probed in the lane and then flipped this like swing pass to the corner, and like half the players on the court didn't know where the ball went. And like, it's just
you don't even know where the ball went. I'm literally watching it right now. And
exactly,
I had to see it again, just like where exactly did it go?
Exactly. Like I'm surprised the corner guy found that ball, because it took me like 10 times to see how he got the ball off. But there's some vision there that I think is really untapped. And I think in a class where the point guards, there's not a lot of depth in this class in point guards. And I think he really has a chance to be like the second, third best point guard in this class. And he could get that 25. I think there's value there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Moving on to, you mentioned Melton. Me and Clayton have talked a ton about him, but I want to hear what Nelson and Alex, what you guys, your opinion on him, how you think he would fit with the Lakers. Nelson, let's start with you. How do you like the fit? And again, I know you're writing an article on him, so go ahead and.
Yeah, I really love it. Clayton was arguing with us before about the value of having such a good like a one-on-one defender, especially.
No. Let him go.
Like I think that his defense is obviously special. I just don't know how needed with how great the team defense is. Like, yeah, you're gonna want that, but I think some of the guys that we talk about with isolation is, like those great scorers are a lot of times just bigger guys, and I just don't know how effective he's going to be against some of them. I mean, like I like him, but yeah, I just don't know how great. I don't know.
No, I get it, especially as you see like this current crop of stars, the ones who are like really going to last, they're going to be like really long, like Giannis, like he's going to be there, and Melton can't guard him because he's not that big. Like I understand that as far as from that perspective, but like if a guy's hot on a given night, or like we don't know exactly like who's going to develop into what, like maybe it's like a sleeper or a late bloomer or something like that. That's more of a size of a Melton. I just feel that like his the defensive instincts and his use of his length. He uses all of his length. Like he is optimizing that shit perfectly on as far as defense goes. And he off ball, he's great instincts. He causes havoc. His motor runs really hot. These are all things that I'm pretty sure you guys have already talked about. But it's really, I know that Josh Hart has a lot of potential as a defender, and he showed it, and he showed that he's already a capable one, as well as Lonzo and Ingram too. But I feel like adding just another guy, it'll be really helpful, especially well, it'll be more helpful in the short term, just because I'm sure LeBron would appreciate another guy to maybe guard Steph or whoever, or James Harden or a Chris Paul, someone just for a possession, so he can take some breathers. And Melton can do that. He is going to be a defensive player of the year candidate for sure. Like in my eyes, just because of how his motor runs and how he optimizes everything he can, and just it's really is like Merge said, Marcus Smart-esque. And I feel like that's probably like the closest comp that there is for him, just because on the offensive end, his shot I think has much more potential than Marcus Smart's shot, but it's still far off from where it needs to be. And in the workout videos that we've seen, I've been really hopeful from what I've seen. He's really corrected the whole elbow thing, and I think he has good touch, not great touch, but good touch. So I feel like if he really corrects that, and if the shot is true. I know what Clayton said about the whole in the gym thing. Yeah, Clayton. But I really do honestly think that if he corrected the elbow thing, that he can become a good shooter. And if he becomes a good shooter, then he also has a threat when he's running a pick and roll. He's never going to be a primary pick and roll kind of guy just because he has such a basic handle. But I feel that like he has good enough vision to where he can run a really good secondary pick and roll. And I feel that I think that if my belief in Melton's shot, since it's pretty high, I feel that like his pick and roll potential is greater than even Huerter's, because Huerter has a solid-ish handle from what I've seen. It's not anything great, but he is capable, and I feel that like Melton, from what I've seen, he shows flashes a lot of secondary ball handling potential, and he causes so much havoc that he's going to create a lot of transition opportunities. And with him and Lonzo, that could be really, really deadly, because Lonzo loves to push it, and Melton creates those opportunities for him. And having two great players with good hands and can create havoc, I feel like that's a really, really great combination for the Lakers. And having him alongside Lonzo with LeBron, PG, it's maybe – depending on how Lonzo's shot materializes and Melton's shot materializes, I feel like there might be enough shooting to where like the defense can really, really shine. And just having a specialty guy like that, the Lakers really don't have that. And I think it's just really important just to have that, just in case you ever like the Lakers, if they don't get LeBron, and even if they get PG, they probably won't be major contenders, but I still feel that like when it comes to the playoffs, having any kind of success, right, it's kind of important. And Melton is one of those guys that, especially immediately, he provides that value, and I like his floor. It's just incredibly high for a prospect, but he's only 20 years old, and he can still improve on that floor. Maybe the upside's not as high as Clayton really likes, but I'm just going to keep firing shots at Clayton because he was talking way too much shit about my boy Melton, and I am not here for that. I write an article about him, and I really think that he has more offensive potential than maybe you guys are realizing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Not anything great, but I feel that he's not going to be Marcus Smart level one offense. I definitely don't see that. I see more, honestly. As far as vision goes, as far as the potential shot goes, as far as his finishing and the use of his length, I just think there's more there.
Yeah, I agree on the offense part. Alex, yeah, you're kind of caught in the crossfire right now.
Yeah, I didn't know there was this war going on, about Melton, but
it's built up from multiple prospects from the last couple years.
Yeah,
and like they were super high on Melton last year, and I've never been as high on him as they are.
Yeah. Alex, is there anything that stands out with you, except for the try not to repeat what Nelson has said, but like, what do you see his fit with like Alonzo or say a Josh Hart or something like that?
Yeah, Nelson actually hit on a lot of stuff, but when he brought up the playmaking, like, would he be the okay, so say Randall's gone, right?
Yeah.
So would Melton automatically be maybe the third best playmaker on this team next year if they don't get a free agent?
Whew.
Okay,
That's
so you got
scary.
Lonzo, you got Ingram, right? Randall. Do you trust Kuzma's playmaking? Like, I don't think Kuzma can run a pick and roll. Like, I think Melton could. So I'm saying there's some avenues there where I think Melton does offer a lot of value to this team offensively. I mean, so like what's his baseline to be successful, like shooting wise, like average, like 35%?
I think 35 plus is. I'm happy with like 35, 36. Anything better than that is
Jesus
like,
Christ.
It's like a lottery talent.
Yeah, I don't know
There
if
you
I
go.
ever see him being that good of a shooter.
Right, of course.
Average?
If he's average,
I don't know if I ever see him being an average shooter.
Oof.
I see it. Honestly.
I think you could get a guy to average if it's strictly spot up. I mean, if this guy's shooting off the motion, off dribble, off screens, yeah, I don't see it. But if you specifically play him in a Josh Hart role, I mean, Josh Hart shot almost 0, threes off motion this year, and he was at 40%. Yeah. I mean, Hart's a way better shooter, but there wasn't much, variety to his shot profile. I think if Melton does something in a similar role where he's standing in the corner, he's offering enough in transition with his vision. I think he adds enough offensive value to see a higher ceiling than what's expected. I mean, his defense against his floor is so high, right? Like, yeah. I don't see avenues where he's unplayable. Like, yeah. I think his defense is going to be that good where he's going to be on the floor. If guys sag off him, I think he can attack closeouts. I think he could find the open man from that. I think he can drive. I think there's a lot of Marcus Smart to him. But, Marcus Smart was playing pretty damn well against Cleveland this year in the playoffs. I think there's some other ancillary skills that guys can have outside of shooting to help a team. And I think Melton could get to that floor where his defense makes up for everything else, that he's just a solid, really good role player. Like, he's like, how big is a drop off between him and KCP? Like, say KCP's gone, you insert Melton. Like, is that a huge drop off, you think?
I think he
not on defense, but on shooting,
defense, right, is better, but shooting wise, I think KCP was better offensively than a lot of people gave him credit for last year.
He was. That's fair.
And he shot 39% from three. I think
he had career highs across the board, actually.
Yeah, even with the prison stuff, he was a really good shooter for Lakers. But I think the defense, I think KCP is a little worse defensively than his reputation gets. And I think Melton could provide that instantly. What he provided last year. Mm-hmm. But Clayton, do you have anything you want to comment on what they said?
No, like Alex said, and I said the other night, if he turns into Marcus Smart, then yeah, that's obviously a very valuable role player still. Mm-hmm. It's just if you're not getting PG and LeBron or PG and whatever else, then you don't have. I mean, obviously, you only have 5 guys on the court at all times. So, like, if you're going Lonzo, Melton, Ingram, Randall, or do we want to go Kuzma and Randall? I think it'd be Kuz, Randall. Yeah, just in the case of, like, they don't get the free agents, like, that's gonna be a lineup that I think is gonna have a difficult time scoring. I think they would be really good defensively. Yeah, like Lonzo, good defender. Melton, really good defender. Ingram, potential to be a really good defender. Kuzma, not a good defender.
He got better.
He got better, but even when he was better, he was not a good defender. Maybe potentially he can get there. He's proven me wrong on everything else. So he could be, for all I know, like in 4 years, I'm not going to even make that joke. He's not even going to be close to that. But anyways, and then Randall's, a monster in a lot of situations, despite what, certain Jazz beat writers want to say. It's just, there's not a lot of scoring, and there would not be a lot of spacing.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of
you're depending on Melton to become an average shooter. And I don't know how often I think he gets there. Mm-hmm. I understand. Like, yes, the form looks good, but when someone gets tired, and I've seen plenty of quote unquote shot doctors or shot coaches say it takes longer than a year to fix a shot. So I just, in the lineups, that would be super fun. I think you'd be able to run and gun like crazy still, but you also, what I said last year, you cannot live and die in transition, and they died a lot in transition because they could not survive in the half court in a lot of cases. So yeah, you could stick him in the corner, but then is he going to be, you know, and like he shot what, 30% at USC?
Yeah, I think that was, or like 29 points.
Yeah, something like that. Something not very good. Then, you know, back that up a couple more feet. You know, I mean, I sure hope his shot has improved because he's had you know, entire year to work on this with trainers and whatnot.
Yeah, working with Drew Hanlon gave me a lot of confidence in it too, because Hanlon's one of the best.
Drew Hanlon also worked with Jordan Clarkson, so
he also worked with a lot of other guys who did well.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, there's hit and miss with every one of those guys. So yeah, as I've said over and over again, I would like to have him at 25. I just don't see, like, I don't see the potential lottery talent that a lot of people are saying. So I mean, like, I could maybe, like, I probably have him starting at like the 16 spot, you know, and then working back.
We're arguing over a guy who we probably all have in our top 20, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you guys are higher on the offense, and I'm not.
I get the concern that I have a little more confidence in him because, again, we haven't seen him play basketball in a year. Who knows?
And that's actually just a ding on him, in my opinion. We haven't seen him in a year, so we have no idea exactly how much that stuff has improved.
Okay.
I mean, you can laugh at it, but I mean, it's absolutely true. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and the spacing, like, when you list it out, like, you have Lonzo, right? Like, we assume and we hope he improves, you know, from outside. We have, so we got Melton. We're going to basically have two non-shooters on the floor. We have Ingram, who doesn't shoot the three at all. He had a really good year, but his frequency percentages were just horrible. Like, he would not shoot the three at all. Yeah. So that's three non-gravity guys on the floor, you know, and you have Kuzma as basically your only shooter out there. It's just, and the math isn't going to add up. Like, and they're like, I tweeted something out today where I just put some numbers out, like their transition numbers and their half court numbers. They weren't good in either of them. Like, they got out and they ran a lot, but they weren't finishing anything in transition.
Oh yeah, we know. We remember.
Yeah. So in half court, they weren't finishing. Transition, they weren't finishing. Mid range, they weren't finishing. So I definitely get the concern about adding another kind of non-shooter in that. And yeah, I get it. I think at 25, we're kind of arguing over just basically who's going to stick. And I think Melton has such a high floor that he's, you know, we see avenues where he's going to stick, where other guys, they might be a little more tantalizing, like a Mitchell Robinson, or, you know, Anthony Simons. And we think, like, you know what, we get some lottery talent right here, and they can offer up some, you know, some upside. But I think at 25, they're going to play it safe somehow. Yeah,
I think, like, I would be a lot more comfortable with Melton than, say, a guy like Frazier.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
I just hold on. I need to say this one thing. All right, Clayton, I get that he took the year off, and we know that he's not gonna. Maybe it'll take him a while to adjust, but he didn't forget how to play basketball. Okay, I'm just gonna.
I'm not. Oh my word! I'm not saying that he forgot.
It really came off like that. I'm just saying.
No, it came off to you because you love him.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Maybe I took a little.
I mean, like, he's a smart basketball player. Yes, he has vision. He has all this other stuff, but he wasn't a very good offensive player.
Right.
You know, and like, there are two sides of the ball, like, and which is hilarious considering that last year I was just like defense. And like this year I've just totally flipped. So because, like, the defense was at points in the year was a top 10 defense. And
I would argue if everyone was healthy, it would have been a top 10 defense.
Yeah. And that's with guys that you could, I mean, we were before even Alex hopped on, we were talking about guys that, you know, like maybe Lonzo becomes a you know, first team all NBA defense or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Hart becomes a really, really good defender, like a Danny Green type guy. Maybe, you know, Brandon Ingram becomes that great guy that can use his length. And Randall, he's already pretty good with, really, really good with switching. But like they had a top 10 defense with none of these guys being truly elite defenders. And like I do think defense is obviously important. Whenever we talk about any of these guys, I'm going to bring up defense.
Yeah.
But like you can't, I don't think you can just have complete zero offense out there, or then you become like what, the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
So like, and you just have no spacing. Spacing is just obviously incredibly important. So yeah, the Warriors, like someone tweeted out today, they don't have actually as many floor spacers as you would think. But then but then they have all-time elite.
Yeah, the three of the greatest shooters ever.
Yeah, 3 of the greatest shooters ever. So like they're able to get away with it. But if you look at other teams, they can't get away with it because they don't have those all-time greats. So that's my main thing. Like I would love to have Melton. I like Melton a lot. I have him probably in my 16 to 20 range. I just don't have him as like where do you have him, Nelson? 12 to 16?
No, 14.
I have him
at 14.
I have him 12.
Yeah. So see, I mean, like we're really not that far off. It's just differing opinions on how valuable he would be to LA. So I don't know.
I mean, it's just that like when I hear you talk about how good the defense was last year, I feel like why not add another defender? I mean, I'm not saying
yes,
right.
Yes, add another defender, but then who's going to score if you're not getting those free agents? Like it's just going to go round and round. So I mean, we can move on.
Yeah, we've hit a rough spot right there. We've touched the nerve. But let's move on. Let's move on to guys who might be a little more under the radar. Let's talk about Jerome Robinson. Now he is a guard from Boston College. He's a guy that has just recently got on my radar. Credit to
Mike.
Yeah.
Credit to Mike. And we've talked about him a lot over the past couple of days. Clayton, I know you've grown on him a lot. So talk about him a little bit and how you think he'd fit potentially with LA.
Well, he can pretty much do really well, at least with at Boston College this year. He was able to do anything on offense.
Yeah.
He's a true 3-level scorer. He had a true shooting percentage of, it was almost 61%. He was just dynamic in so many different ways. And from watching some games on him, I didn't think the defense was very good, like at all. But then Mike put in his synergy stats, and they were a lot better than I was expecting. I mean, I don't think they were like great by any means. They're obviously, if we're going to go back to like Melton, they're nowhere near that.
Yeah. They were serviceable though.
Yeah. But they weren't half as bad as I was expecting.
It would keep him on the court for sure.
Yes, definitely. So like, I think, he would definitely be a really good 6-man guy, potentially starter for some teams. I don't know necessarily about LA, but I do think that just because of how dynamic he is, because he can shoot, obviously, like I said, I also think he can pass. He can obviously handle it. I talked on another podcast that we've yet to release about like his handles, I think, or his playmaking is okay. So he could be a potential backup point guard for stretches.
Yeah. Especially with some wings that we have that can handle the ball,
Yeah, exactly. So he just, he wouldn't be in the middle of nowhere, just like looking for someone to pass to. Right. So I think that he's obviously a guy that I've grown a lot on recently.
Yeah. Or where would you sort of have him if you had to, like, after Herder and Melton? Is he in that range of guys that you'd want
at 25? Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with him at 25.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So then Nelson isn't fuming over there. I would probably take Melton over Robinson. FYI. But yeah, it would be yet another guy that I wouldn't have an issue taking.
Yeah. Alex, have you been able to watch him, and what do you think if you have been able to watch him?
Yeah. Shout out to Mike. He's the one who kind of put his son, on his radar. Yeah. But kind of like going back to what Clayton was saying. I mean, this team does need offense. Like as we were talking about the defense, I was saying in my head, like, where's this team going to score? Like, say if there's no free agents who come, the team, I don't they're going to rely on, Kuzma, like Ingram, and then Randall. They haven't had like a true, scoring threat in a while. And I'm not saying Robinson's that, but I think he has enough tools. He, like Clayton was saying, he's a 3-level scorer. Like, he's looking at the synergy numbers. He was like an elite shooter. Like, he can shoot it from all over the place. He can, put the ball on the floor. He's really athletic. I think he does have some passing upside. I think he does. He can play make a little bit. And I think his role is going to eventually just be like a 6-man. Like, I think, who was it? Lou Williams? I think, is that his biggest comp? Is like a Lou Williams, or that might be Simons. I'm not sure, but kind of a similar player. And when I first watched him, when I first watched him, I told Mike I see a little like Washington Wizards Nick Young in him. Like, he's kind of he's kind of got like a younger Nick Young to him, a little more athletic. And I just at 25, you want tools, and I'm kind of shifting my narrative towards gravitating towards more guys who just can shoot.
Yeah,
like who have shooting upside over defense. I think you can maybe get defense in the second round. Like, you're not going to get Melton defense in the second round, but I think you could get average defense and get shooting upside in the first round.
If you can get like a Javon Carter at 47, yeah. Nelson, have you been able to watch him at all? Have you been able to watch him?
Yeah, I have, and I like the good amount of shake that he has. As far as a creator, and as far as a 6-man, I feel like he really does fit that hole. I like Okobo more just because, I personally prefer the flash a bit more.
Yeah.
And also I feel like Okobo has a little bit more of an upside. Yeah. But I feel like already he'd be a contributor, and he would provide that offense that Clayton so badly wants. And I really like him more than Dante DiVincenzo. Either at 25 or at 47, I doubt he'd fall that far. But if he did, I'd pick up in a heartbeat. I really do feel like the Lakers need scoring. I feel that like the contract of a first-round pick's pretty cheap, so he can provide that added value. And the Lakers have picked so many picks and have so many draft picks and so many young players that they can afford a luxury of getting a specialty kind of guy, either for the defensive end or the offensive end. And since Clayton thinks that they need more offense, a lot more offense. And I mean, I'm not going to disagree because it is very true. We do need some sort of offense, but I feel like offense is also available a bit in the free agency market, but getting a guy on a first round pick deal is probably better.
Yeah, I agree with Robinson. He's been like with Clayton. He's the guy that completely just jumped. He's in that same tier. I mean, I'm probably the highest on Dante DiVincenzo out of all of us, and I think I'd have him in that same tier with Robinson. But yeah, I that's a guy that I would like with all the shooting upside with him. The Lakers definitely need that guy who isn't just we need shooting, but having a guy who can shoot from multiple levels and off a lot of different actions that isn't like obviously not like a Paul George or something like that. It will be really important to have off the bench and having him play with Lonzo, have him run off screens, have him handle the ball a little. It's important to have stuff like that on the team, just to add a bit more dynamic to the offense. Keep the defense guessing, because the Lakers do have a very predictable offense when it comes to half court and in transition. With whoever has the ball. I mean, Ingram, he wants to drive. Like, that's what he wants to do. Same with Julius. Kuzma is gonna try to mid post you with his jumper. But like, it's very predictable. It's very easy to stop. And adding a guy who has multiple layers to his offense that isn't that big star would be a good thing to have off the bench.
Actually, I think I want to insert this before I forget it, but my brain is Melton because Clayton does not have Melton over Horder. I just had to throw that out there.
Okay. I mean, I have Horder 14th and Melton 12th. So I mean,
yeah, I like you, Clayton, not so much.
Moving on. Let's move on to the mystery guys, the two mystery guys in this draft. Anthony Simons and Mitchell Robinson. Let's start with Simons because I think recently, at least me, I think I would actually rather have Simons over Mitchell Robinson. I've sort of flipped. I've really sort of bought into the athleticism and the potential scoring upside with him. So Clayton, we'll start with you. With Simons, what have you been able to sort of get from him off of the mixtapes and stuff like that? And like, what do you see his fit with the Lakers being?
Just that offensive guy. It's so hard to tell from those mixtapes exactly what you're getting. And we've got a friend in the group chat, Derek Parks, who talks about how, he's warmed up to him, but like he shoots these shots that a lot of times are just inefficient because like guys are on him or they're just not very good shots, but he makes them. And it's just being able to have a guy that can another possible 3-level scorer. He's turning 19. I think actually I said the other night, it was today. I think it's actually the 8th, what is that, Friday? No, today's Wednesday. Sorry.
It is Friday.
Friday. You would think I would know that since I'm a teacher, but end of the year, everyone's brain is just melted by now.
Melton.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. My word.
Yes.
If you're wanting to go for like that true lottery ticket talent type guy, just because at 25 now they can kind of risk it. So I guess how Nelson said, like, they could use a specialist, which I agree. They could use an offensive or a defensive specialist. Either one would be fine. I also think that that they could possibly go for that lottery talent guy that slipped. They could take that high risk, high reward guy.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple months ago, or even maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have probably had Mitchell Robinson ahead of Anthony Simons. But one, Simons has just a great first name. You gotta take that. You gotta take that. And he's not obviously like the height I like, but he's 19. He still has time to grow a little bit too. I think he was measured at 6'3.25". He has like a wingspan of like 6'9".
Yeah.
So it's like a +6. He's very long.
And he tested really well in the
athletic testing. I don't think he quite plays up to that athletic testing.
I think he might be able. I don't know. Maybe I have the mixtapes in my head a little bit. I think he has that athletic upside.
I always kind of like take a little bit off of my own head of like what those mixtapes are showing.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I don't think he'll be kind of like a Nick Young type guy where he tested absolutely elite, I believe, at the combine way back when. But obviously, Nick Young is not an elite athlete when he plays. So I don't think he's going to be like that. So it would be interesting. I can't really get a good idea of how he is in the pick and roll or anything like that, how he is on defense, other than like sometimes an anticipatory steal. But I can tell that like the shot is at least goes in. and he's got range.
Sounds important.
Sounds
important for the shot to go in.
Yeah. Obviously. I'm just meaning, like, you don't see, obviously in high school, you don't see guys run off of action. You don't see guys do this, do that. It's just I don't think his form is awful. There are probably a couple things I would tweak from it. But yeah, I wouldn't really have a huge issue with taking him.
Yeah. Before we move to someone else, Robinson or Simons? Like, if you had to have one. Sorry. Mitchell Robinson or Simons?
Simons, just because like the red flags on Robinson right now just scare the crap out of me. If they do take Robinson, it's because they got intel, in my opinion, and that they can trust. So that's that information gap that we don't have. And, we've had on other podcasts, like, he's got questionable motor, questionable like red flag type things. So I don't know. I've come down quite a bit off of him. He would be a guy I would consider, like, if they did for the Atlanta 30 and 34. But other than that, no, I don't know if I really have him on my draft list anymore.
Let me rephrase a little bit. If who would you be more excited if they drafted? So comparing Mitchell Robinson to Simons, if who would you be more excited for if we did draft him?
That's a tough one. Because I don't know if either of them really truly excite me. I mean, I guess I would probably go Simons.
Simon, okay,
just because, you know, you hope he brings some things that like Zoe doesn't.
Right.
And
the comp I've seen for him at like the absolute peak is CJ McCollum.
Which would be dope, obviously.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to have that. Alex, what have you been able to gather from Simon?
Yeah, I actually threw this. I think I threw this question out last night. Actually, that same question: the Simons or Robinson. I like Simons in the same way I like Jerome Robinson. Like there's similar, tools there, and I like that scoring upside he has. The guy is so young and he's so raw, and it's almost exciting in a way. Like there's a lot of like. Also, just the mystery behind him. Like I get the mystery factor for both him and Robinson. Like there's something about that mystery that you feel like there's some raw talent there that can be like an all-star. Yeah. And I think like between like the two, and I kind of like value the scoring from the wing, the wing position a little more than the center. Like I don't know how many centers can really impact the game, like to get that type of value out of that pick. Where I think Simons can get to at least like league average and maybe still have the same impact as like a really strong Mitchell Robinson. Like we don't know about how these guys play in a lot of little things, like how they handle pick and rolls, how they defend in space. Like there's just not enough tape on these guys. But I think I trust just the scoring upside. Like I would take the shooting upside over being just big. Yeah. Like I asked this question last night. Like what skill does Mitchell Robinson really have besides like dunking? Yeah, he can dunk.
And from what I've heard, he was actually he's a really good rim protector.
Okay,
I think at the McDonald's All American, there's people that are saying that him and Jaren Jackson Jr. were like the best rim protectors there. Yeah,
that's great. And if he can do that, that's awesome. But what about like defending in space? That could he defend a pick and roll? I think.
That one's hard to say.
Is huge, and I know people are like, "Oh, he might be Gobert with a jump shot." Like I don't like. There's not enough data or like film that his jump shot's real. Like again, it's like the empty gym syndrome. Like he can shoot in the empty gym in these highlights, but I think with Simons, we've seen the handle a little bit more. We've seen a little more footage of him shooting, and I think that's a little more translatable. Mm-hmm. So, I mean. Again, like I wouldn't be mad if we get Mitchell Robinson. Like I think he adds an element this team hasn't had in a long time. Like that vertical advantage of just throwing it over the top and just having a lob target. I think that's huge.
Yeah, they really haven't had anyone like that since Shaq.
I guess Shaq. Yeah. Bynum. I guess. I mean, he
wasn't really that athlete.
And he had great hands. Like does Mitchell Robinson have great hands? Like these are questions we don't know, and I think these are really important questions to have with him.
Yeah, I agree. I think stuff that we've been hearing out of the Simons workout is that he plays a lot more mature than his age, which kind of makes me more excited on his offensive upside because I feel like he's sort of a surgical scorer, like a guy who's gonna really just dissect the offense and score in some like unique ways. That's probably reading into things a little bit, but I think you can take that, and I think the Lakers were impressed from what he showed. I think Pete said that, but Nelson, any extra thoughts you have on Simons compared to Robinson?
Well, Simons, first of all, he's on Hair Watch. It's very important to point out that I've seen there's a video of him in the Portland interview where you get a really good look at his hair, and I'm just saying that's a top 5 hair right there.
Lottery talent.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that with Simons, I really do like the alert, and it's much more present because with Robinson, he's such a question mark, and there's so many red flags already. Yeah. I just really don't want to touch that unless it comes to the second round. Mm-hmm. But with Simons, I see someone who has moves and has different ways of scoring. He can initiate offense, which is kind of an important thing, and I've seen so much Melton these days that it's well to my brain, But the Simons, watching him and just like this small little DX video, it's like 5 minutes. I saw it the other day, and you really see how many moves he has and how he is well control of his handle, has that first step. He can really attack off pick and rolls. I don't know how well he's developed vision wise. I haven't really dove that deep into him, but I really do feel like Simons. I'd be really excited for him, and digging a little bit more into him. He's probably up there in the options at 25, just because he has like kind of like what Clayton said, like Huerter and Melton and Simons are probably like somewhat close to a top 3 that I have. Just because, and there's 2 specialists there, but you also need that kind of like lottery ticket type guy, and this one's kind of reasonable because he already has like a kind of or shown enough of kind of a sort of consistent sample of like being able to score, get to the rim, has qualities and traits and tools that you really can't see in a secondary scoring option starting. Defensively, haven't really seen too much, but I feel like just with the speed and the measurables, there certainly is something to tap into, and it's a lottery ticket that I'd be comfortable taking. On the other hand, like Robinson, you see his workout videos, empty gym stuff, a bunch of crazy empty gym stuff, him dunking and doing all this kind of stuff, but his, like, from what I've seen, his handle is really not all that well developed. He's like been playing in high school, but like for centers, it's just high school is not really just a good measuring rod because like you're like the best player there and you're the biggest guy.
I mean,
like, that's a good point.
There's a reason Julius was the #1 recruit coming out of high school, because he was a man.
Yeah,
like
bigger, stronger.
Everybody.
Yeah, and I just feel like with Robinson, the red flags, like him working out with his uncle, is really weird. Yeah, and like him not knowing like whether he wants to go to college or not is really weird. And I mean, I'm not going to tell someone how to live their life or judge them on how they decide to live their life, but there's a point where like when you make a decision, you got to stick to it. Like when you commit to a school, you got to commit to that school, barring some unforeseen circumstances. Like you got to commit, and if you don't want to commit, then that's fine. Then decommit, but then don't recommit or like explore that option yet again, because then it makes you seem really mentally like kind of like weak, right? And I feel that like that's not an ideal quality in someone that, like, as far as the Lakers go, looking for someone who's mentally strong, right? And with the whole what is it, Lakers mentality workout thing?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he probably wouldn't pass that as far as like the like when you ask him stuff, because he just doesn't really have a strong mentality to anything, like even when it comes to his life choices and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, really good talent. In the second round, you can talk me into him, but in the first round, I'd much rather take the better name, the better hair, and the more polished skill set.
Also, he was seen wearing a Celtics shirt in Hollywood.
That's obviously questionable. Real quick before we end on him, I do think how we said like we're missing that lob threat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a guy that we've all seemed to kind of like have forgotten is already in the Lakers organization. Who guy gets up? He's super long. He's actually shown the ability to actually shoot. Thomas Bryant. So like while I do think like if you could get Mitchell in the second round, I think that's a worthy gamble right there. But at the same time, like a big reason why they took Thomas Bryant last year is because he's long. He actually has a consistent motor that's constantly on fire.
We got college tape. We got college tape on him 2 seasons.
Yeah, and the G League.
And the G League.
That same stuff running,
Yeah, and like he can actually shoot. We know he can shoot. It's not open gym stuff. Like I mean,
does not work out with his uncle before the draft.
Yeah, it does not work out like with his uncle before the draft. It's just, and I don't think like part of Thomas Bryant's issues, and Pete has said that in one of like their podcasts a few months ago. He's just a young kid that just needs to mature.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's not bad decision stuff. It's just like when you're young, you get frustrated. So then like you try harder, which makes you actually mess up a lot more often. Yeah. So I think I would just, that's kind of why I've cooled on Mitchell as well, because we kind of already have a guy like that. Maybe he's not as fluid as an athlete, as Robinson, but I mean I think he's longer than, because I think TB had like a 7'5" or a 7'6" wingspan.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's freakish, and he can actually jump like really high as well. He's already shown to be a good lob threat with Caruso and some other guys in the G League. So, that's kind of why he's almost like a no draft for me unless it's in the second round.
So,
Yeah,
I think. I was gonna say. I think it goes back to the philosophy of the pick. Like, do you guys have fit in mind, or are you just taking best player available? Like, I think that's something that we keep in mind. Like, I mean, we have Bryant, we have Zubats, maybe Randall, maybe Brooke. Like, is there room for Robinson, or do we go with that upside? Is he the best player? So there's just
and even if like Zubats is gone, which I think
he will be.
I think he will be. Even then, I mean, you have 3 guys who probably are best of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or 4 guys who are probably best of the 5 if you have Mitchell Robinson,
Yeah.
So before we move on, I just want to get as for right now, what we know right now, what we've seen, I want for the 25th pick prediction right now. Nelson, go. Just off top of your head.
Quarter. I think he falls there.
Okay, Clayton.
Melton, because I don't think Herter will be there.
Alex.
Yeah, I think Melton.
Let's go.
And I think it's Anthony Simons.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you think both of those guys go?
Yes, I think they're both gone. And I think they go with Simons.
Nice.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to an idea that Alex brought up before the pod started. I know it's a very exciting time in Lakerland right now with all the Paul George stuff and the LeBron stuff and everything like that. It's looking like the summer is going to be. It's very interesting. Those Lakers have a legit shot at getting these guys, but let's try to sort of keep. Let's sort of deflate the hype a little bit and stay sort of real a little bit. And talk about guys who the Lakers can trade for to fill in that cap that they have remaining, collect assets, stuff like that. So Alex, since you brought the idea up, let's start with you. What's the first thing that you've thought of with that?
Yeah. So say, like, I don't want to be like the bearer of bad news. Like, I'm not trying to like damper the mood.
No,
or anything
I know.
It's
it's important to stay a little real with all the hype coming up,
Exactly. And when I kind of came up with names in mind, I kind of assumed like maybe just one guy. Like, so say just Paul George comes, right? And we still have that extra room and we sign Randall. We have a little room left over. Like, there's some targets out there that we could fill this roster with. Like, so say like George Hill, right? Like, I know he's not having the greatest finals or anything. So he has 1 year left on his contract. And then his second year, like his last year remaining, is non-guaranteed. So basically we can, and I know the Lakers were interested in him before they signed KCP. So like say you trade, maybe say LeBron leaves and goes somewhere else and Cleveland's in tank mode and they want to get rid of Hill. So say they give us we give them a second rounder, like Chicago's second rounder or our second rounder or something like that. And George Hill slides into this team. And then once he expires, you have the extra cap for next year. And then also Kyle Korver in the same thing. He has 1 year left and he has a non-guaranteed contract after that. Like there's guys around the league, like Gortat even, like if you want to fill that center hole.
That was the first guy that came to mind when you brought it.
Yeah. So the Wizards would love to trade him. They might actually like add a sweetener to the Lakers to take him on. They strike out and I don't know. And he's like, like you can maybe get a second rounder out of that, and take him on for a year. Like there's different avenues with this cap space. I think fans are, we obviously want the 2 max stars, but I think there's ways to improve like internally and add, sweeteners and have that cap space for next year. Like there's different avenues out there besides signing 2 max guys to be successful, I think. And like that down in the Kenneth Reed news out there, and obviously, I'm not sure how credible it is if Denver's really offering up their number 14 pick to teams to take on Freed or not. But that's something that, sounds like a no-brainer.
I do it. Oh yeah.
But I mean, I don't see them doing it. Like, I don't think it's realistic before the summer. I mean, unless they get that intel, like, you know what, Magic.
Man. They're connected, man.
Definitely. I think by draft, I think they have a good idea of what's going to happen. Like, I think by then, with the agents and everything, I think they have a good idea. So if they know, like, hey, you probably don't have a shot, you're not going to get an interview, then that seems like a pretty, like, solid swing, to get a number 14 pick. Yeah, so
give me shy. Oh yes.
Are there any guys you guys had in mind with that?
Yeah, Clayton, let's move on. Move on to you. Do you have anyone in mind with that?
Fareed is definitely the one. You know, if you can, if that 14 pick is actually up.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Alex said, you know, that's when you have to have the intel and everything. Because, oh my word, was it you, Alex, that brought that up and then sparked like a huge chain reaction in my mentions?
It might have been. I'm sorry. I think I usually do that.
Yeah, it was hilarious because like I literally was walking into a meeting. I was like, okay, I'll just get back to this in a minute. And yeah, no, the meeting ran late, but then I had like 85 like mentions, and then of course like you have to scroll through all the likes and retweets and all that, and then everyone started talking about that in the group chat too. I was like, holy crap, guys!
Yeah.
Like, oh, what happened? What even happened? But yeah, for Reed, the Gortat one, because see if that relationship with John Wall is broken or not, you know, and if you could possibly, you know, get them to give up 16 or something like that.
They're a luxury tax team too, so they need to get money off.
Yeah.
So that's definitely feasible.
Yeah, so like, I mean, there's Gortat and there's also Keith, who I'm not very high on Keith, but like again, I think he's expiring as well.
Yes.
So those are two guys you could potentially actually add both of them, and then if you want to get more draft picks from them, I mean, I don't know exactly how much anyone is into that, but I think it's Gortat at 16 a year, and then Keith is at 8. I think
it's about there. Yeah.
So like they would definitely have the space for that because we've got 58. Well, they've got 58 million coming off the books, and then yeah, I mean, you have dang a year left, and you added assets to go with it. I can't really remember who else there is for options like that, but really, I would really strongly consider any of them that were willing to give up like a borderline lottery pick.
There's one player, and I'm not sure how likely this is because this team is tanking, so I'm not sure like how desperate they are to move money. But I think if I remember correctly, I think Kent Bazemore actually has like 1 year left on his contract.
They have a ton of picks.
It's two years. He's kind of the same year as Dang.
Shoot, okay. He was someone I was actually looking like he can fit like a kind of good role and expire. I think that'd be a good get.
Yeah.
But okay, if he doesn't fit that, then never.
Yeah, he was the same summer as Dang. I remember because I was livid. I was a huge Bazemore.
So was I. Yeah.
Fan. and then yeah, he totally flamed out after all that.
He was really bad his first year on that contract.
But then
how about Ryan Anderson? Because
they don't have the assets, and his contract is even worse than Dang's. It's 2 years. It's 2 years and 40+ million left.
I don't see anyone taking that. Do you guys see anyone taking that on? I mean, what assets do they really have to give up? You know,
that's the thing is they don't. Really I'm not taking on $32+ million for Eric Gordon. Like Eric Gordon is good. Eric Gordon is not that good. You're gonna have to give me like a whole bunch of first round draft picks that are unprotected. And and if you're doing that, then
they're probably gonna get a good player too in that process. You're probably gonna get a George or a LeBron. Those draft picks are not gonna be as good as
exactly. So like it's just that would just be totally pointless in my opinion. I said on another podcast, I don't see Houston as this big threat because they're going to have to pull a lot of strings, and they just don't have the assets to move some of those bad contracts.
Yeah,
you know. The question is how many Morey though.
Even Morey can't move that thing, man.
I mean, like, I guess I would never say never because
I don't know.
Teams are dumb all the time.
They are, but I mean,
like that contract is right there with the Noah and THJ as some of the worst in basketball, in my opinion. I mean, it's just awful.
Like, who is Dang easier to move? Just because I think the Lakers, at least their draft picks might be a little better, and I think you can maybe get a Hart, or you can maybe get like an ancillary piece that Houston. Like, who does Houston attach? I mean, I don't think you're getting Anderson and Gordon if you're a team. Like, I don't think that attracts you if you're that team with cap space.
They'd have to be getting salary in return anyways, because I don't think anyone else has that much cap space
No.
Period.
Yeah, the Lakers
besides LA.
are ahead by like 20 plus mil, I think, in terms of cap space.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Deng can be moved for 2019 and 2021 first round draft picks because it's 2 years left. If you look at it, it's kind of like the Damari Carroll one from last year, where the Raptors gave up their first and their second for this year. And I think 2 firsts are just better, period, than a first and a late second. So, yeah, I think you can move it.
Yeah, I have another question that's sort of in this. So say the Lakers only get Paul George and they re-sign Julius. Do you sit on Deng's contract or do you try to trade it? And say LeBron isn't coming, like it's just Julius and Paul George. Do you sit on the Deng contract for another year or do you look to move it as soon as you can? Nelson, let's start with you.
I'd probably sit on it for a year. I think I feel comfortable with that, and then becoming an expiry, and then it's much easier to move. You might just need to throw in one first round pick. It saves you at least one first round pick. And I think that the Lakers, I mean, although they're really free agency driven, I feel that they'd probably see that and probably be like, all right, like we're gonna need picks to fill out the edge of our roster because, like, if you look at the Warriors, Kevon Looney, Patrick McCaw, these are all guys that, although McCaw not so much this series, but these are all guys that were drafted in that late first mold.
Bell,
Bell.
Yeah, Bell, who was bought in the second round. These are all guys that
he's playing much better though.
Yeah, but I feel like these are all guys that contributed to a championship team. Still, I feel that like you can still find those kind of guys that can contribute late in the first round and at a value, at a bargain, especially when you're capped out. So that first round pick is going to be pretty valuable when it comes to building a contender over and over and over again. Like the Cavs haven't had really a first round pick all these years, and it's been pretty telling that that like, they had to go get youth because they couldn't get it themselves.
So their next pick available is like 20, 21, 22, 23, something like that. They can't even trade stuff like that.
Yeah. They're finally gonna get a top 10 pick right now, or at least a first round pick in general. So I feel like there's value in that, especially in building a championship team, and with the Lakers drafting so well, I feel like they'll probably value that first round pick enough to where they probably hold off, because then you'd probably just be attaching a first and like Chicago second, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Deng. I would sign the Deng contract as well, just because it'll be easier to move, or it will be a easier stretch to swallow for the team if they couldn't trade for some reason. But Alex, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it depends. So it's George and Randall, and
Randall. LeBron is in Houston somehow, and yeah.
Okay, I think it depends how they want to use that rest of that space that summer. Like if they're going to go the route of filling it with cap with the other teams and getting assets, then I can see them holding on to Deng. But if they're going to try to go after, I'm just hypothetical, like a DeMarcus Cousins, like a big 1 year, 1+1 year deal or something. There's like different.
I just threw up a little bit.
Like Clayton is rolling over in his chair right now.
Like I'm just like like Isaiah Thomas for another year. Like there's
you can tell that Alex knew that because he said just a hypothetical.
I'm protecting myself with this.
He's seen my boogie tweets.
Like I think there's different ways to fill that space, and I think obviously if a team's gonna offer all it takes is a first to get rid of Deng this summer, they'll do it. I think probably reasonably they'll probably just sit on it. I think that is what they'll do. But if they can get another guy that George likes, so say George comes, he's like, hey, you know what, I'm coming, but I'm not coming alone. LeBron's not coming. At least get me DeMarcus, or get me trade for I'm not even gonna go there, but just get me someone else, and the Lakers just fill it with someone like that. I can see them doing that. But if it was me, I'd probably sit on the Deng, because it's like Nelson was saying, it's so much easier to trade an expired contract. Like you're not going to give up as much. Like maybe the first round, it's just a lot easier to move with 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, Clayton, are you of the same mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I would sit on it. Once he signed it, I didn't think he was going to be able to be moved until like next year anyways.
Yeah.
So I would just do that and then just try and accumulate more assets. That's, I mean, because some of the guys that we were talking about that we could put into the salary cap space, like Markeith is still a good enough player.
Yeah,
not anything great, but he's good enough. Gortat, another decent enough player. He can put up numbers, and I think like he's got plenty of use for him. And then, well, I don't really think Farid is really good, but I mean,
maybe it's a small ball 505.
But yeah, but maybe what I was thinking is I believe they played on Team USA together. Maybe they have a relationship like that, and you're just something like that, and then you can get their pick or something like that.
So I pulled up my notes with some just like a list of like 20 names that might be expiring that I was doing at work. So I have some names just gonna throw out to you like rapid fire, and maybe you could say yes or no. Like if you're willing to take on that cap space. Like I think they have 1 year deal. Like if Eric Bledsoe.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 1 year deal. These are expire. I think it's expiring after this summer.
What are you getting with it? I guess then are you 17?
I mean, you're no, you're not gonna get 17 for that.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, does Milwaukee like him enough to just hold him for another year? Like, do you?
I don't see them trading him.
Yeah, I mean they did.
Say a second, say Chicago's second. Will they give you Eric Bledsoe for Chicago's second?
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't. I do that, but I don't think they'd do that.
I don't think Bledsoe's that good.
Okay, well, neither do I. I'm just trying. I'm trying to find ways to fill this cap and get some decent. Like, there's different guys like Taj Gibson, Nene, Ish Smith. Wilson Chandler is a name that I think
love
is interesting.
Wilson Chandler so much.
I want Wilson to be on a good team, man.
Not on the SB Nation Nuggets.
Yeah.
See, with Wilson Chandler, you're going to give up something to get him, though. Like, I don't think Denver's desperate to move him, even though they're another team who needs the money. Like, Jokic's max money's coming soon. So, but I don't think they're desperate. I think Kenneth Faried is kind of playing himself out of that rotation with all. They have how many? They have like 5 centers on their team now.
Yeah, they have
they've got like 3 centers, and then like they've got like 5.
They've been mocked to draft a big two.
Shout out to Nate Duncan and Juancho Hernangomez.
Juancho's there.
I just like totally forgot about him. So yeah, throw him in there also. There's some interesting names on here. Like there's some funny ones like Enes Kanter. How about like a Justin Anderson? I mean they're gonna need some. I don't know.
Sixers.
Yeah. Justin Anderson. There's literally just wings.
I've always liked Simba, even though he's not very very good now.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there's options out there for them if they strike out that they'll still. I feel like a lot of fans are really gonna take it. I mean, I will too. But if they strike out completely, I don't think it's as doomed as they were years past when they've struck out. I think
because they still have the core.
Exactly.
And I still think it's a 40+ win team.
Exactly. Worst case scenario is what? Like we get a full year of healthy Lonzo and Ingram, Kuzma, 25, 47 on this team. Like that's a pretty good plan Z,
Well, completely strike out. Do you also
plan Z?
Julius you also assume Julius is gone too?
No, if they completely strike out, they got to keep Julius.
Yeah. I'm just saying in the scenario that they strike out, is it like Julius included in that?
I think if they strike out completely, I think he's their number 1 target.
Yeah.
Like that's just where I'm at. Like if LeBron and George are gone, like they better be like Julius. Here's we'll sign whatever you want. Like they got to keep him. Like it's like a no-brainer to me. Like I think it's a no-brainer to me no matter what. Like I'm really high on Julius.
Yeah, 100%. If I think the Lakers need to do all they can to keep him on the team, if he's the best player or if he's the 3rd best player on the team or whatever. Moving on. Also, a little part of that, if they did get like just Paul George, is there like a star you can see the Lakers trading for? Like a guy like the guy I always bring up in that situation is a Bradley Beal type of guy. Or like a Kyle Lowry type of guy. Not DeMar DeRozan.
I hate
you gotta look at Eastern Conference teams that are like underperforming and just try to pick one of those stars.
Nelson did
or like CJ McCollum or someone like that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is
actually
there
interesting.
someone like that you would, or you could see the Lakers trying to trade for, or do you see them just waiting again for a Clay or a Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler in the next year?
I can see like a scenario they get desperate.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't know if it's like a like how likely it is, but there's definitely a scenario out there where they strike out and Portland or someone calls and say it's like, we'll offer you this guy or this guy. Because I think all it takes is one guy, and then it's so much easier to recruit that second guy. And I think, I mean, it's just a matter of how much you want to give up. Like, if they strike out completely, I don't think it's worth like trading the young guys for one guy. Like, I don't think you really go. I think you're basically where Washington is if you do that. Like, you're gonna be stuck in the middle, and I don't think the middle's somewhere you want to be as a franchise. Like, either that you just drop out completely, like the bottom needs to fall out, or you add. There's got to be a secondary move after that. You don't want to be like 6th seed for like 5 straight years.
I think even if you get LeBron and Paul George, you need to try your best to keep at least 3 of those young guys. You know, just because who are those guys going to play with?
Exactly.
If you trade those guys away. Clayton and Nelson, did you have any stars in mind, or do you see Lakers doing that to pair one of those guys with PG?
Honestly, like, I mean, DeMar Rose is out there. He's born in California. I'm saying out of Compton. Shout out to Compton.
Can we mute him?
I'm just gonna cut all his audio out of the podcast.
I mean, I feel like CJ or Dame, like one of those 2 Portland guys. I feel like maybe the Trailblazers. Well, they probably are gonna blow it up. So, if Lakers don't get LeBron, then maybe they're like, oh, you're offering me an all-star, an all-NBA team, teamer. I feel like CJ or Dame is probably like a guy that they could possibly go out there. I wouldn't be interested in that, but like it's probably going to be like that kind of guy. And I ideally, I really don't want them to really touch that avenue. I mean, like, it'd be really good to get some wins, and adding those players would certainly add wins, but I'm looking. We're so invested in this gosh darn long term. And that making a sudden move like that, it's really counteractive to the entire thing. And I feel that like as many Laker fans that would be excited for the arrival of a guy like that, I feel like the Lakers are, especially the front office, they're smart enough to know that they've talked up the future so much, and to make a rash decision like that would go against everything that they said so far. And I really don't think that they're in the business of misleading the fans. So I mean, as like good PR, or as good it would be for like the talking heads to get a CJ. Oh, CJ really 20+ point scorer, this many assists, right? And I personally like CJ, but he's just such. I mean, on defense, it's such a problem. You know, you just really wonder like, how does that work long term? Right. And the Lakers are about championships, and on a championship team, it's kind of hard to pigeonhole him for a role. So I really do feel like the Lakers would become patient, but maybe like Jimmy Butler, if he like decides that he's.
I think Jimmy's more of an option in free agency than anything.
Right, but I'm
trading for.
Yeah, but I'm just talking like maybe the Timberwolves get like a bad vibe from Jimmy, and they don't think that he's.
I mean, I could see maybe them firing Tibbs after something happened, and then Jimmy getting pissed off at that.
Yeah.
I can see that maybe happening, but that's the longest shot of like any of the guys we brought up, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Clayton, did you have anything to add to that?
I just don't really see any guys that are going to be available on the market.
Right.
Kawhi, I just don't see him turning down $217 million. It's just
another name to bring up in that one I didn't bring up, who's probably the lowest of the guys that we've brought up, is Kemba Walker.
I was just gonna do that. Yeah. Just because he's also expiring, and he's super cheap, $12 million a year. Like, he's a super cheap contract.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Kemba fan. He would obviously improve LA. I'm not a huge fan of him. He's good, but not as good as a lot of fans seem to think he is. Like, I have him barely like top 10 point guards. I don't think anyone in Portland, other than their overpriced guys, is available. Like Dame, I don't think Dame is touchable, just because of the culture and everything.
And he's from Oakland. Don't forget about that.
Don't forget it.
Shout out to the O.
And then CJ, they just gave him that big contract. I don't
I don't know. I just like they have to shake something up, that team.
I think something needs to be shaken up, but I don't think it's either of those two guys are going to get moved this year again.
Yeah.
They're another luxury tax team also. Like they have some pretty bad contracts on these
contracts.
Yeah.
Something's gonna like I don't know what, but there's like how do you get rid of Turner? Like how do you get rid of Leonard? Like there's some pretty bad contracts out there. And
even
then,
like Mo Harkless, who I like, but
I think you can move him, but I think it.
Oh yeah, no, he's bad.
I don't know for what though, and I think they actually need him. Like they don't have like serviceable wings on that team.
It's like him and like Aminu.
Yeah. So I agree with Clayton. Like there's something that's gonna happen. Like I don't know what, but like them, Washington, like the two teams, like there's something's gonna go on. Like you got to shake something up there.
I think Myers Leonard would be the guy that I would target, other than Evan Turner, for just specifically for that from them.
Oh, to get rid of, you mean?
Yeah, to get to take on as like that salary dump that we were talking about earlier, because he's only got 2 years left at like it's a combined like 23 or 22 million or something like that. So maybe a little less. So I mean, you could dump it next year if need be. You could just let him ride the bench this year if you want. He theoretically is a guy that could still space the floor. He's not good. Don't get me wrong. Like he's not good. But I mean, he's, if you could get, their first this year for him, as you said, a luxury tax team. I don't think you're going to get rid of Evan Turner just because he's not good. Yeah. He'll probably Twitter search.
Shout out to Brad Stevens for giving him a large contract.
Right. So yeah, just from them, I don't see really any of their big stars available. Like you bring up Bradley Beal. I don't think he's available. I don't think John Wall's available. I think those two are there. I would not touch DeMar DeRozan with a pole that reached from Los Angeles to freaking Toronto.
Shoves the 6.
I can't. He would actually make me hate watching Lakers basketball. I hate.
Oh gosh, let's go.
I hate watching that guy. He's as Nas calls him Costco Kobe. I think he's more Walmart Kobe. He's an all-star in a crappy Eastern Conference. I don't like him. I mean, like, oh brother. I would debate Lowry. He makes a ton of money, but
he's still really good, man.
He makes some sense.
Still really good.
Also.
Yeah. But the thing is like, what are you giving up for him? And I'm not giving up Ingram for him.
No, yeah.
I'm not giving up Zoe for him.
No.
Like Kuz, maybe you could talk me into it. But I would.
It would probably have
a hard time with that. Like it would probably have to be Future First and Josh Hart. And I actually think that Josh Hart could eventually be on the same tier as Kuzma, because I'm still insanely high on Hart. So I think he's a guy. We had talked with Cole Zwicker a couple months ago about like if he shot 40% or so, or 38 plus, that he's a starter at the 2, and he did. So I think he's a potential starter. So like at cost controlled and everything. So yeah, it would
have to be a low ball sort of offer going to the Raptors, and it'll be like the Raptors panicking and say let's get rid of Lowry and rebuild.
Yeah.
And even in that case, I see them asking for like Kuzma and Hart.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that. And I'm not, and like I said, I'm not touching DeMar DeRozan ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's 45 years old and he's wanting the veteran minimum. I'm not touching him.
What if he comes here for free, Clayton?
No.
He's waiving his contract. You don't have to pay me anything. I just want to play with the Lakers.
No, okay. I'm not even giving him one of those 10-day retirement contracts.
Come on, Clayton. That's a little harsh.
Oh yeah. Man, let's end it there before he starts. Just like the same bad things about DeMar's family.
Yeah, hurling some real insults.
Yeah. So let's end it there. Alex, thanks for joining us, man. It was fun to have you on.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. That was fun.
No problem. And Nelson, hopefully you're more consistent on here.
Yeah, hopefully. But for sure that Melton article's gonna come out, and I can't wait to make Clayton edit it. That's my one thing I'm looking forward to.
How many Melton gifts do you have?
Too many.
Too many.
I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna open it up.
Please make a Simon's
delete half of it.
I need the hair power ranking.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have the all hair team. For each position, the top 5 hairstyles in the NBA draft. I wrote it last year. I'm gonna write it this year.
Did you write the year before too? I think you did.
Yeah, I did.
Clayton, do you have anything in the works? I know we talked about this yesterday, but is there anything in the works that specifically you want to mention?
It's kind of a little late that I wanted to do, but I want to do like our own little wrap up of guys that the Lakers have worked out. Yeah, some of it is going to be serious. Some of it is going to be an absolute.
I'm waiting for the Jello part of it.
Oh, exactly. that was the joke part going to be. Yeah, and then there's a couple other things. I want to try and get some things before I go on my very nice trip that I'm not telling anyone on air where I'm going.
For sure. Alex, if you have anything you want to push right now, go ahead and let it be known.
Yeah, I've been doing those draft profiles for SilverScreen&Roll, like some of the guys we taled about. So like Kevin Herter, Jonte Porter, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
He would have made it past the Spurs. I'm sorry.
That was the guy. That was the team. Like I was saying it to you guys like in our thread. Like the Spurs were the team I was worried about. Like they're too smart to pass him up. You know.
Yeah. Sorry.
And my latest one's on Okobo, who we talked about earlier. So check that out. Cool.
I highly recommend those. They're great.
Yes. All right. And thank you again, Alex, for joining us. You can follow me at Merge Christian. You can follow Clayton at Lakers1949. You can follow Nelson at probably_Nelson. Correct?
Wait, no, he doesn't have a Twitter.
Oh, you don't have Twitter anymore.
Don't have Twitter anymore.
Not for now.
You can just follow Nelson on the streets.
Follow him around the grocery store.
Catch me outside.
Grocery store. Yeah.
If you have any Melton takes, I'm here for them.
And you can follow Alex at Alex_Regla09 on Twitter. You can follow the podcast and the blog at Under the Bus Pod on Twitter. And thank you for the people who have watched it for getting our Pete Pod to over 1,000 plays. For reasons no need to mention the reasons why, but
they got there.
They got there. There it is. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys, and see you later. Peace.
Jason.